So let's get right to the questions. I have some emails that were emailed in. I want to remind anyone who's listening to this on a rebroadcast or who's on my YouTube channel or who's sitting at, who's hearing this in any way, shape, or form, that if you would like to join us live and have your questions answered, all you have to do is go to amysadvice.com. Go to amysadvice.com, click the big red button. It will take you to a page where you can sign up to join us live here. And for those of you who cannot join us live, but you'd still like your questions answered, all you have to do is email me at questions@amysadvice.com. So questions@amysadvice.com is the email address where you can email me anything you want me to go over. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/Amy Collins. I not only put up the full episodes of Free Advice Friday, but all of the really pertinent questions that I feel that would interest a number of people. We shrink those down. I just take that few minutes and we transcribe it, and we also put that up on my YouTube channel. So please go to youtube.com/Amy Collins and hit subscribe. I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. All right. Good morning, Bob, Deb. Yes. Loving the toys. Anna is asking, let's get started. How important is NetGalley? We've all heard about NetGalley. We've heard about Edelweiss, Above the Treetops, but services like this, how important are they? Anna, they're very important. But you have other options besides NetGalley. NetGalley is the most wonderful, and I've got nothing against NetGalley, but it's not in everyone's budget. The nice thing about NetGalley is because everyone is aware of it, the reviewers, the publishers, agents, tons of people go to NetGalley every day, and publishers are looking for new authors there. Reviewers are looking for review copies. You can send a NetGalley link and anyone instantly trusts it. They know that NetGalley means quality. So getting a NetGalley account for your book, especially during a book launch, is a great idea. But it's very expensive. And in addition, not everybody who wants to review your book or get a galley from NetGalley electronically will be approved. There are some of my favorite book reviewers and bloggers who, when they go to NetGalley, their requests are not approved. Well, I don't want anyone not getting a review copy of my clients' books. So may I recommend that if you decide to go with NetGalley, you also consider going to bookfunnel.com. Let me drop that into the chat box. Let me make sure I type it right. Bookfunnel.com. A lot of you have heard me say this before, but bookfunnel.com is a website. I get nothing for recommending them. I'm not an affiliate. I just like them. They offer for about $20 a year an opportunity to put your book up as an ebook, as a Mobi, which is also a Kindle, an EPUB, or a PDF, or all three. And then you can send that link to reviewers and to readers and to agents or publishers so that they can safely view your book online or download it to their ebook reader or download it to their tablet. It is the safest way to get your book out in front of the most people. What I love about NetGalley is they have their own marketing engine. So if you get into NetGalley and people start requesting your book, you may very easily and very well get an email from NetGalley, just automatically generated, sending out to tons of their subscribers saying, hey, Amy Collins' book's getting a lot of attention. You might want to check it out. You don't get all that with BookFunnel, but with NetGalley, you spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get 90 days worth of exposure. With BookFunnel, it's more of a service. You spend $20 or $30, but for an entire year, your book is supported and you can send out those links. So, Anna, it's very, very important to have your ebook, your PDF, your Mobi, your EPUB up online where reviewers and others can download it. But it doesn't have to be NetGalley. All right, Sonia's asking if I'm familiar with the Indie Author Project, which helps indies get their books in libraries. If so, what do you think of it? Sonia, I will answer that, but let me ask you, do you mean the SELF-E program, SELF-E? That is the only indie book service project that I know of that helps indies get their books in front of libraries. And the Self-E Project, which is a partnership between Publishers Weekly, or Library Journal, excuse me, Library Journal, and Ingram Spark, and all of these, I like their program. Now, what you're doing is you're giving free copies of your book away, either usually in an ebook format, to libraries, but it's a wonderful way to raise your readership and to get the exposure. Sonia, I am not familiar with something called Indie Author Project. I will check it out. Let me jot it down, because if I don't jot it down, you guys know it doesn't happen. All about the Post-its lately. Indie Author Project. So what I'm going to do, Sonia, is I will Google it. I will check it out. I'll ask some of my friends if they know anything about it. All I'm afraid I know is about Self-E. I'm sorry. All right. Wendy is asking. She's got a question. What will happen to her earnings and to her book rights and to all of the monies that are due to her if she should pass away? Now, guys, I am not a legal expert. And Wendy, I don't know your situation, but hopefully that is decades away. But let me tell you, let me give you the answer this way. If you are set up as an author and you are concerned about your heirs, your children, the rights of your book, and the income from your books going on to your descendants or to the people whom you've left everything to, this is how I've set it up. So I'll just let that be as it may. I am my own publisher. Amy Collins owns New Shelves Books. So as my own publisher, the books that I have published, that my company keeps the rights to those books and the income that comes in, whether I'm alive or dead. Now, I have left all my worldly goods to my husband, so he better behave. He better be a good boy. And so my KDP account, my Ingram Spark account, the income that comes in all belongs to him. He has access to and I have put together a password folder. I use LastPass, LASTPASS, but also I've jotted down on a piece of paper because he's 63 and not the most computer friendly. So I jotted down all my login and passwords. I update it regularly, and I make sure that he has a copy of that. So when he wants to go into KDP, he can log in and he can do that. And as the executor and as my beneficiary, once I'm passed away, he will own New Shelves Books. And so he can go in and do anything with those accounts he wants. He can change the bank that the money's being deposited into. They will belong to him. So that is how I've set it up. However, if you're an author who has a publisher, a true traditional publisher, it's up to your contract. You have to read your contract. I don't know. Everyone is different what ends up happening. In almost all cases, when an author dies, that does not release the estate from the contract. The contract then goes to the estate of that person. And then they have to negotiate with their heirs. But that's the extent of what I know about that, and not being a legal person in any way, shape, or form. You know, I'm the person who always ends up spending $20 extra on my parking tickets because I forget to send them in. You do not want me giving you advice on how to deal with the legal system, but that's how I do it. So there you go. I'm sorry, Wendy. I wish I had more expertise for you there, but I don't. Anonymous is asking, where do you get music for use in a book trailer royalty free? All right. So there's a number of sites that I really like. Now, I was not prepared to talk about that. So give me a second because I've got them listed here on my website. If you like some of the advice that I'm giving you, you know, you can always go to newshelves.com and then click on the questions box and go to people we like. newshelves.com/people we like. All of the things that I recommend, like Book Connect or Book Funnel, or like this royalty-free music site that I wanted to tell you about, they're all on my website. So you're very, very welcome to them. Okay, the company that I use and that I really like is called hooksounds.com. That's who I use. I use Hook, H-O-O-K, sounds.com. And let me drop that into the chat box so that you guys can see it. But this is the site that I use, and I really like them. I've used them for a number of things. So I hope that that is of help. Now, I have a couple of questions that were emailed in this week. So while you guys are thinking about your questions, I want to read you a couple of questions that came in this week. All right, let's see. Maxwell has written in and said, in my experience, he's being very sweet and there's a little hyperbole going on here, but in my experience in this business, how can a faith-based author, I'm assuming at that point it means Christian, most of the times when people talk about faith-based, at least in the United States, they seem to be focusing on the Judeo-Christian tribe, but I don't know if that's his faith, because he doesn't mention it, but he's saying faith-based author compete in all of these things that I've been talking about. When I talk about social media, when I talk about getting bloggers and reviews and getting out there into the world, how can you compete when you're faith-based? Which bookstores accept theological materials, and how can a faith-based writer really find his tribe? All right, that is a number of questions that I would be happy to talk about, because I do work with some authors that delve very deeply into the theological world and into the Judeo-Christian teachings. So while I am not an expert in this market, for lack of a better word at the moment, we're going to say Christian. The Christian market at the moment is in huge flux. Tons of them the retailers are closing down, they're consolidating, they're turning away from books completely, and they're simply selling statues and other Christian goods. A lot of it is going online. And my experience with my faith-based authors is that it is time to go online. That is where the vast majority of your successes and your tribe, the people that you want to reach out to, the easiest place you can find them now. And if you say, well, I don't want to go online, I don't like going online, I don't have much of an answer for you. Because the truth is that unless you want to go church by church, seminary by seminary, person by person, and reach out to them, there is no truly national way to reach the faith-based reading market, especially if you've written a book that's heavy on deep intellectual theology. If your book is academic or theological in nature, truly the best way to reach the people you want to and to find them is online. There are discussion groups that happen online. There are people who are constantly posting on social media and connecting with each other. There are discussion groups. Whether or not you are finding them because you're based in a particular dogma, or you're finding them simply because you guys all belong to the same community, or you're all Methodists, or however it works, I'm afraid that at this point, Maxwell, online is your best choice. I would suggest that you start looking for discussion groups. You start looking for national church organizations that have conferences, and perhaps see if you can speak on panels there. Again, I don't know enough about your book. You don't give me any details, but speaking on panels at national conferences for the Catholic Church or for Methodists or for the Hasidic, or, I think Hadassah has a national conference. There are so many different places you can go, but it has to be online. So may I recommend that you Google your little heart out, Maxwell? That's how I would start. All right, now this question came in through my YouTube channel, which I think was fascinating. Somebody subscribed to my YouTube channel. They watched Daniel and I on Free Advice Friday last week, and they asked this question. Hey, Amy, I'm a New England girl as well. Well, hello, New England girls. You got to stick together. First time on your channel. Kudos to blah, 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 blah. I am an erotica writer. I have found that my genre seems to be a little harder to get out there and to promote. Do you have any advice? I'm going to go back to follow some of the advice you'd already given in other podcasts, but I'd like to know what you think. I love working with erotica writers. You guys have an ability, you have access to a fan base that most writers would absolutely dream of. Your writers read fast. I mean, no, all jokes aside, your readers read very hard and fast. They go through books like crazy. They've got favorite authors. They're very, very loyal to their favorite authors. If they find an author that they like, they will subscribe to them online and they will constantly purchase anything new that they've got coming out. Now, the downside of promoting erotica is you catch that reader really early and you have to impress them and you have to like them. You don't usually get a second chance. These readers, in my experience, are extremely loyal, but they're also extremely picky to what they particularly want. And if you are not a good fit for what they're looking for, just move on. So I'm not going to use your name, but dear Anonymous, what I would recommend for anyone who's writing deep erotica or anything, very, very on the far end of romance into erotica, that don't give up. Keep reaching out to the audience. You are going to get far more people who do not dig what you're doing, but once you found the people who do, they start sharing. They are so good at recommending you. So keep going, go online, go to a number of sites, put a number of your stories up on some of the free sites like literotica.com. Do what you need to do, get your name out there, and then make sure that you are drawing as many people as you can to your website and get their email addresses. Nowhere more than in the erotica market is it important to develop a one-on-one personal relationship with your readers. You want to get their email addresses because when you have new stuff coming out, you want to announce it to them so that they go and they download it from the venue of their choice. Not everyone goes to Amazon for this. So go broad, make sure you get your stuff out everywhere. Always be putting free stories out on the sites like Literotica, those that where people can discover you. Give them a good reason. Give them a free book. Give them a good reason to go to your website and give you their email address. Give them a whole free book if you need to. Get those email addresses and don't give up. I have to tell you that the amount of authors that I have seen who actually make a living at writing, without exception, I'm telling you, most of them are erotica writers and romance writers. It is a very hard and competitive market, but once you hit it, you are golden. You are golden. You will never find more loyal fans. All right. Let's see what the next question is. Anna's asking if I've heard of Kirkus Pro Connect. I have. Anna, I'm happy to answer questions for you on it, but can I ask you, what's the question? I've heard of it. I'm happy to answer any question that you have, but I'm not exactly sure what it is you want to know about it. Yeah. So. Let's see other questions. Let's see other questions that we have. All right. Well, you guys are awful quiet this morning. Oh, now Bob has jumped into the chat. And he's saying for Maxwell, the faith-based, I can't believe I was answering questions from Maxwell, the faith-based author. And then I had to answer from Unexpected about erotica. Welcome to Free Advice Friday, where we go from one spectrum to the other. We bury the needle on both ends. But Bob, going back to Maxwell's question, saying that America Magazine is the leading Catholic magazine, and he could publish excerpts, possibly even have an impact by doing a regular column or getting his own imprinted material there. So Bob, thank you for that. I am afraid I'm not as up on the Catholic as I used to be back when I was an altar girl for a long time, but not so much anymore. So Anna, who was asking about Pro Connect, I don't see a follow-up question. All I can tell you is it's a newsletter. Pro Connect is a newsletter that Kirkus offers to give people information about the publishing industry. I subscribe. I like it. It's there's nothing. So unless you have a specific question about Pro Connect, I think you should go for it. All right. Let's see some of the other questions we have here. Oh, Anna received a great review from Kirkus. I'm assuming Kirkus Discoveries, and now they're suggesting that she join Pro Connect. Oh, Anna, they're suggesting that you join the actual service. It's a service where you get a page and people will will be able to search and see your book and your review, it's not worth it. The Pro Connect newsletter is worth it. But if they're asking you to pay the $300, and I think it's $300 a year to showcase your book, no, absolutely. I'm telling you right now, it's not a good use of your money. I would recommend that you make sure you have a book like BookFunnel or on your webpage showcasing your book, but there's not enough industry professionals plowing around Kirkus reviews for the discoveries for the self-published world. It's not a good use of your money right now. Katrina is saying she hasn't tuned in for a while. Well, hi, Katrina. How are you? It's good to see you again. I definitely recognize I want to say your face, but your name. As of 2 days ago, they're taking back the rights from their publisher, and they're transitioning to an independent publisher. Nice job. Way to go. So you're going to be a small indie press. But it says you're going to keep the ISBNs, and you're going to need to reprint without the publisher's logo. She's going to take over the Ingram Spark account. What can you advise to be careful of when taking the rights back? Well, Katrina, I don't know your whole situation, but here are some things you need to know. You will not be able to take back the rights of your book and republish the ISBN that already exists. I know they gave it to you. I know that they've listed it. You're the imprint. I get all of that. However, that ISBN belongs to and will always be hard-coded to that publisher, even if your imprint is listed as the imprint. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but the first thing you have to do, if you're going to take the rights back and start under your own independent press, is you need to get your own ISBNs. I know what the publisher told you. I know they told you that the ISBN belongs to you and that they registered it under your name, and that's all true. But at the moment, your imprint is registered as a division, as an imprint of their publishing house. Now, I'm sure they'll remove that, but that means that your ISBN will never truly belong to you. You have to go, Katrina, if you're in the US, you have to go to myidentifiers.com through Bowker and buy your own ISBN. If what you had was not a publisher, but a publisher services company, and you did buy your ISBN yourself, and you registered the ISBN, and they just did it for you, but it's all registered as you, then you're golden. But what you said was you're taking the rights back, you're transitioning, you're keeping the ISBN, and if they gave that ISBN to you, then that's not how it goes. You have to get your own ISBN, I'm afraid. You will be able to use their PDFs and strip out their logos, and that's all fine. I'm sure that's part of the contract. And you will, I believe, open up your own Ingram Spark account, and then you will transfer that book with all of the, the ownership of that book and that ISBN to your Ingram Spark account. But here's the deal. That ISBN still will belong to that publisher, and it's not going to go well. I strongly recommend that you open up your own Ingram Spark account. You upload your new ISBN. You upload the fresh files without the publisher's logo, the fresh cover. You re-release the book as a new edition for 2020, and you go to Amazon and you have them port over the reviews. You go through authorcentral.com, you talk to them, tell them it's a new edition. They'll copy over all your reviews and all your materials, and then you start fresh. There is no way to adequately take over from a publisher if they owned the ISBN. I'm so sorry. So those are the things to be careful of. Let's see, Katrina, I think, has a follow-up question. So she's checking on the ISBN, but she doesn't want to lose her reviews, sales rankings with a new ISBN. They will port over your reviews. They will not port over your sales and your rankings. And I'm sorry that you don't want to lose them, but you are putting a new book out. The only way to keep those is to keep your old book, keep your old ISBN. But that means that you're never going to be able to take that book and that ISBN much further, because it doesn't belong to you. If this is your last book, if this is it, then fine, go for it. But if you're truly taking it over and starting your own publishing imprint, do it right. I know you don't want to lose your sales and your ranking, but you're putting a new book out. You're not taking over the book from them, no matter what they say. You can do that. You can, but you will still be connected to them. And if that's not what you want, then you have to do it fresh. I'm sorry. Let's say, Wendy. Well, how are you feeling, Wendy? I hope your cold is better. I'm sorry that you had the crud. I hope it's all behind you now, or at least getting there. She wants to know my number one tip for marketing your book in 2020. That's weird that you asked that, because I've been thinking so much about marketing my business and myself in 2020. I've been putting so much effort into thinking about it. And I'll just tell you where I am right now, because this is my number one tip. I am going to stop pushing, stop trying. Now, stay with me here. I am simply going to try this year in 2020, instead of putting together very meticulous plans and schedules and pushing and going after and reaching into the bushes and chasing after the road runners, I am going to sit in one place this year, and I'm going to put out as much content as possible. I'm going to try to attract more people to me and to offer my book, to offer my packages, to offer my programs, and to take it down a notch. That's what I'm doing in 2020. And I would recommend the same thing for most of my authors. What seems to have happened in the last few years, and I'm as guilty of it as the next person, is we are working so hard and we are trying so hard to rise above the cacophony, to get a head up on everyone else, that I have lost a little bit. I've lost a little bit of sight of what it was I'm supposed to be doing. And what I'm supposed to be doing is connecting with people. I'm supposed to be helping them. I'm supposed to take a deep breath, and I'm supposed to eat dinner at a decent hour and not be shoving it in at 9:30 at night. I'm supposed to have a life. And so the number one marketing tool that I have for authors this year is to connect with your readers and stop promoting to them. Don't promote, don't push, don't sell, connect, reach out, do what you need to do to find and connect with more people. Do it organically, do it calmly, do it at your own pace, but don't stop. Too many authors give up totally, and they do not reach out and connect with readers. They just want to write. They want their words to do all the work for them. You can't do that. That's not what I'm talking about. But the number one advice that I have for writers today and authors is to daily and consistently, but with integrity, connect with readers and then move on and let the successes come as they may, instead of trying to make them happen. Don't try so hard to make it happen. Just reach out day to day. All right. Let's see. Wendy, I hope that was helpful. If not, Bob was saying he's been thinking about the exact same thing. Staying in one place, create as much content as you want. Oh, Bob, you need to unfriend Frank. I love Frank. I love Frank Calandra, who is a local guy here in Rochester and a big fan. On the weekends, I'm a musician. I play Celtic and blues music on the weekends. And poor Bob Eckstein has been hounded by Frank Calandra. Bob, I love Frank, but if he gets to be too much, you just push him down. All right. Let's see. Anonymous is asking, is it best to release your audiobook at the same time as your print and ebook? In an ideal world, yes. But how many of us live in an ideal world? That is not usually how most people can do it. It would be ideal if you could release the print book, the ebook, the audiobook all at the same time as a nice big splash. But how many of you guys want to wait another 6 or 7 months to get the audiobook done properly? Because that's how long it takes. I mean, if you've got a full-length book, it doesn't just happen overnight. There's the readings, there's the rereadings, there's the re-records, there's the edits, there's the proper mastering, there's the intro music, there's so much that has to happen to get an audiobook done correctly. So that having been said, yes, I would love it if we all did it at the same time. But what usually happens, and what I do, is I put the ebook out 3 weeks before the print book so I can start getting reviews going online. Then I put the print book out 3-4 weeks later, make a nice big splash with the print book. I work that for 90 or 180 days online. Then at 180 days, hopefully the audiobook is done. I put the audiobook up, and while I'm promoting the audiobook online, I then move the paperback marketing to bookstores and libraries. That is how I usually, it depends on the category, but that is how I usually map out my timing. And in most cases, it works well for independently published authors. Anonymous, if you're not an independently published author, then do it all at once. That's great. Katrina's asking, speaking of audiobooks, am I familiar with the site Findaway Voices? All right, look at me, guys. I love Findaway Voices. Findawayvoices.com is the sister company of drafttodigital.com. Again, I get nothing for talking about them. They don't even know I exist. They have no idea that I'm on the planet, but I adore them. I'm a huge fan. Findaway Voices is my go-to choice if you're going to do an audiobook. They're not as inexpensive as using ACX, but you don't have to do all the same, you don't have to sign the same 7-year contracts. You get more money. You don't have to give away as much in terms of rights for as long a period of time. You have a lot more choices. So so I would Findaway Voices, huge fan. I've heard zero bad things about them, and I and my authors have used them a lot. All right, let's see if there's other questions. Well, thank you, Katrina. Let's see what's going on in the chat box here. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Denise, good morning. How are you? How many times a year do I have bookstore mailings? You just sent me an email 10 days ago. Well, you said that's just for me. Guys, here's the thing. I'm so sorry if I've missed your email. 10 days, that's mortifying. I would love to say that that's rare for me, but I get a little behind sometimes. So Denise, I'm going to go find your email. I'm so sorry. We do bookstore mailings 4 times a year. We do them quarterly. And a number of people signed up last year at the end of the year and pre-bought for 2020. And the library mailing went out in December and January. The bookstore mailing's going out in February and March. Then we're doing another library mailing in April and May, another book sales mailing in May and June. So it staggers, but we do 4 library mailings and 4 bookstore mailings a year. And Denise, I am so sorry I missed your email. I thought I was caught up. I will absolutely track you down. I'm mortified about that, guys. Sorry. April's asking if I'd recommend using Findaway Voices in lieu of ACX, or do you use both? You do not use both. So let me start with that, April. Don't use both. But I'm not suggesting that you use one over the other. I'm saying depending on your situation, one may be better than the other. If you have 0 funds, I mean 0 funds, if you're going through the couch cushions to pay your gas bill, then ACX is probably a good choice for you, because ACX does offer the option, if you give them a 7-year contract and they get 50% of the profits, and you can find a person in the ACX program who's willing to voice over and produce it for you, you can get your audiobook up for very little, almost no money. But you give up a lot of rights. You give up a lot of rights, and you give them up for a very long time, and you give up a lot of profits. If you've got a little bit of money, if you don't have to dig through couch cushions to pay your gas bill, but let's say that the end of the month gets a little tight, there are options on ACX where you don't have to give them exclusivity for 7 years, and you can pay their readers, and you can still get into the audiobook program, their Audible, which I absolutely love. But if you've got some time and some money and you want to do this the way the big guys do, go to findawayvoices.com, because you can still get into all of the great programs there. They have a distribution model that will get you into Audible, that gets you into everywhere. You pay more, but you own everything. You do not give away your rights the way you do when you go exclusively with ACX. I prefer going wide. Do not go exclusive if you can help it. All right, it's 10:40 already? How did that happen so fast? Oh my gosh. Well, for those of you who are watching this as a replay on YouTube, youtube.com/Amy Collins, or who are watching it as a post video on my Facebook page or on my LinkedIn page, I am here every Friday at 10 a.m. Please go to amysadvice.com. amysadvice.com is where you can sign up to join us live, or you can always email me at questions@amysadvice.com. Questions@amysadvice.com will get you into my inbox, and I answer those questions every week. Please, I'm begging you, if you email me in the middle of a broadcast, I won't be able to get to your question until the next week, because I pull all the questions up, I put them out. You can see me sometimes glancing at my other screen. That's what I'm doing. But I would love to participate with you here. We are an ever-growing group. Now, somebody, I think it was Sonia. Sonia suggested to me yesterday that you guys might want to get in touch with each other and that you might want to ask each other questions. So I want to let you know that I started a closed but an open Facebook group. And if you'd like, I can give you a link to that. But this open Facebook group, there's no obligation. I'm not going to sell you anything. That's not what I do. But this open Facebook group is a Free Advice Friday Facebook group where if you wanted to join me, you are very, very welcome to. And let's see, groups I manage. There we go. So let me drop this in. You just go to facebook.com/groups/free. Let me type this in, Advice Friday. And that will take you, that says that's not it. So let me get you that link. I will send an email out to all of you guys. But if you'd like to join me at the Free Advice Friday Facebook group, you guys can ask questions there as well. And I will be popping in on a very regular basis Bob, that's the wrong one. I am going to find it. There it is. All right. So guys, I'm going to drop it in. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me once again on Free Advice Friday. I will be back here next Friday. And for those of you who have sent me an email and you haven't heard back from me, you are going to hear from me soon. I promise. If it takes me all weekend, I will get through my emails. Denise, I love you. I'm sorry. I will talk to you guys soon, and I will see you here next week, 10 o'clock on Friday for Free Advice Friday. Have a great week, guys.